Hi everyone, this is another Google Drawings emoji tutorial. Today we are going to be making the emoji with the winky eye and the tongue sticking out, and then I'm also going to show you at the end a different version of this emoji. Alright, so don't forget when you're making your emoji's circle that if you hold down the shift key, it'll make a perfect circle for you. This also works with squares, so if you were trying to make like the perfect square, you could do that as well. Alright, so now that I filled my space, remember our space here is 128 by 128 pixels. It's very tiny. Alright, so when we look at this font, for example, this font is in 3. Okay, you wouldn't be able to read that if it wasn't on my screen right now. It would be really, really tiny. Alright, so remember, emojis are tiny, so we're going to make them tiny. Now to color my emoji, I'm going to go into custom and I'm going to put in the custom hex code for emoji yellow, which is FAD201, and then hit OK. And then again, we're going to change our outline to transparent. Okay, so now that we have our emoji body, now we can start building the shapes. All right, so I'm going to start with this eye. All right, so again, it's just a circle. Okay, and I also like to work in the area that's not my workspace. It helps when you're grouping objects. So I'll hold down my shift key again so I get my perfect circle. I can adjust the size later to make it fit nicer on my emoji body. All right, I'm going to make the outline transparent as I don't need an outline. But then when I come to my fills, I'm going to come to gradient. All right, and you'll notice that like this has like a little bit of a gray tone. That's because we used our gradient. Okay, the other thing that you can do with gradients is that you can also customize them. So if I wanted there to be more white, I could add a white. All right, change this to white, and then you'll see how it starts to create. And then if I drag this, right, so you can see how the gradient is changing, and make sure that it's set to radial and not linear because we're working with a circle. Okay, so now that's a little bit better. All right, I might play around with it a little bit more. And then the final step, wrong thing, is to get another circle that I can use to create the little pupil. All right. And again, hold down your shift key and it'll make it a perfect circle. Then we'll go, this is now I need my fill, and I'm just going to make this black, solid black. All right, so those are the pieces of my eye, and I can play around and adjust them. Now what I want to do is I want to select both of these. So remember, we can select everything by clicking and dragging. All right, we can also select things by holding down the control key and selecting them. So I select that, then I select this, then I group them together, Control-Alt-G, right? Click off, and then I should be able to drag it as one shape. Perfect. All right, so that's my eye, step 1. To make this eye, I'm going to use my moon shape that I used for my smile in the original. So this is the moon here in between the sun and the clouds. Remember when you first drag this, right, it's going to look like a moon, and then all we do is flip it. All right, and then we can drag this over here and use our guidelines to line it up so that it's center with the other eye. Now obviously I need to change this. This is another gradient. All right, so we'll use this gradient for this one. All right, and then I can play around with the size if I wanted to make adjustments. All right, I might make it a little bit lower. All right, so you can play around with it. So then I need another moon. So I didn't change this border. So I need another moon. So I'm going to copy and paste this one because I don't need to go back up into my menu if I already have one. So we're going to flip him. Then we're going to stretch this to get the mouth that we're happy with. Remember, you can pull on these little orangish yellow tabs here to make the shapes wider or skinnier. Right? And then we'll just center that, and there's his smile. All right, now we could, if we wanted to, do it a little bit differently and flip this over as if he's angry. Okay. So now you can see it completely changes the whole feel of the shape, all right, of the emoji. All right, now to get our tongue, we're going to go to these little tools down here, all right, and we're going to look for the one that's called Flowchart Delay, and then I'll click on that, and then I'll draw my tongue. All right, again, remember, you can draw off to the side and make all your adjustments before you drag it onto the image. Now I think I made this slightly too large, so I'm going to scale it back. All right, then I can make it pretty much, nope, I can make it pretty much any color that I want. All right, you can choose a pink color, okay, and then I'll line it up. All right, oh, again, I keep forgetting to take these borders off. You want to take the borders off so that it gives it a little bit less of a harsh feel. If I left the borders on, then it gives it more of like a coloring book feel. So if you were looking for something that looked more like a coloring book page, then you would want to do like a 4 like PX border on stuff. That's a later lesson. And then the last step for our tongue is to just create a line. All right, you can just click and it'll create this line for you, and then you can drag to resize it, and then you can drag to adjust the direction that it's facing in, and then this just gives it a little bit more depth. All right, and then you can play around with adjusting this to make it look like you want it to. It's pretty good. All right, I could also make it slightly lighter so that it's not as harsh. So if I made it like a gray color, all right, now it's not as harsh. So that's pretty much the one winky eye. Now there is another emoji that has tongue sticking out. So we could also create that shape. Now that shape is created using different eyes. All right, so for these eyes, we're not going to use any of our shapes here. We're actually going to use our text box, and we're going to draw that text box on his face where we would about want his eyes to be. All right, and then we're going to use our greater than and less than symbols. So these are the symbols that are above the comma and the period on your keyboard. So if you hold down Shift, all right, we're going to do the greater than symbol first, and then I'm going to tab, and then I'm going to do the less than symbol. It's okay if that happens and they go on separate lines. All right, now what I want to do is I want to make this bigger. All right, so they look bigger, and again, if that happens, and if the tab is too far apart, then you could always untab it, right? Center them so that they're centered. Make sure your text box is centered, and then just keep hitting the space bar until you get them into a place where you like what they look like. All right, so this is just a different version. Now so he looks angry here, like he ate something that didn't taste good. If I flip this, right, now he looks like maybe he ate something that he did like. All right, so you can play around with all of these different things and adjust it as you see fit. So these are the two versions of Winky Face tongue sticking out. As always, if you want future tutorials, you could come back to this YouTube channel, and there will be another emoji coming out soon. All right, have a great day.